Right. Keep your t-shirt underneath because you never know what's going to happen. But we are here on Voice of Radio on our weekly show of East End Neighborhood Wrap-Up. Here to inform you about what's happening in the community, always keeping you updated of the good things that are happening in the neighborhood. You know, there's always that negativity about there's nothing happening. There's good stuff happening. Good stuff happening.
We're good, so it's good.
Yeah, we're good. We're good. But I was out, guys. Little word of advice. You know, when they talk about falling, that's real stuff. If you do fall, it really can injure you. You know, we have seniors at East End Neighborhood House. You all know we run a senior program out of East End, and we do a lot of workshops and, you know, lessons about how not to fall and being careful. And, you know, you look at it like it ain't got nothing to do with you, and then you find yourself face down in your basement like, maybe I should have been paying attention to some of those sessions.
You live and learn.
Your girl broke a leg and her ankle and been out of work for, well, not out of work because y'all know I was working in the background.
Yes, we were getting emails, text messages, phone calls, FaceTime, you name it.
Using all the technology I could. If I could have done the show from my house, I would have. Man, I miss you guys a lot. So it's been over 100 days. To be exact, I'm not counting, but today's 106.
106?
Since the fall. My fall, not the Bible fall, my fall. But I am back now. And today we have an exciting show for you all. We're going to be talking just in a little bit to a fabulous young woman that I met not long ago. She's beautiful, y'all. Yes. Her name is LaDosha. LaDosha Wright. And she wrote this beautiful book. I wish you guys could see it. Get your hands on this. It's called Curly Hair Adventures, and we're going to talk all about hair and what to do and not to do. And she is also going to put us up with some very important information about what they don't tell you at the hair salons, y'all. They keeping secrets from y'all. And you might say, Zoma, this is a human services organization. Why are you talking about this? This is important to the people that we service, as you know, right?
Right.
Where we are and who we are unapologetically an organization that services a primarily African-American community.
Right.
I'm in the Buckeye neighborhood. And when you talk about hair, it's an important subject.
Right.
You talk about the hair industry is an important subject, particularly for my girls, you know, my young girls, my babies.
Right.
I'm always worried. I want to say something about that. I'm always worried about our little girls.
Yeah, just how they look, how they're taking care of themselves, you know.
And how they feel.
Right, their self-esteem.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, and hair plays a part in that.
Yeah. So, she's going to talk to us at a deeper level about this. I'm happy to have you.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome for being here. And also with her is her right hand, I'm assuming. I'm sure he's got all kind of titles, but Mr. Lateef Hughes is here to support and chime in as LaDosha allows, because this is her show, right? All right.
It's all you,
so
baby.
It's all her, right?
Yep.
But before we get to all her, why don't we do a little bit of updating on what's been going on at East End Neighborhood House? I know we got some things coming up that I'm really, really excited about. I hope that you all come on out. As you know, every year we do our Kwanzaa celebration. We don't take RSVPs. We literally never know how many people are going to show up. We do this every year. And so this year is on
December 28th at 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. All are welcome. It's going to be a wonderful event. There's going to be artists there, vendors. You'll be able to come out and buy some things, support the local artists, support the local vendors. Again, that's December 28th at 6 p.m. at 2749 Wood Hill at East End Neighborhood House.
Yeah, in the Buckeye neighborhood. And what's going to be really different about the celebration this year. We always have vendors on site,
Right.
and that's really neat because it's always local vendors and things. People who are selling things that are unique to the neighborhood that oftentimes you're not going to get at the mall, right? And you know, they're artistic and different. But what's really neat is this year our community ambassador Darren Fletcher, who's taken lead in coordinating the event, we're doing an art show.
Right.
And man, when I tell you people, she told me, have been calling her from even outside of Cleveland.
Wow.
Outside of Cleveland, wanting to have an opportunity to display their art. Listen, we have a very artistic community. I don't think people realize, you know, when you talk about the arts in the music industry, people think about Atlanta and LA and New York. We have some talent in town. You all know we just did our Ubuntu award ceremony not long ago. We had the beautiful, beautiful Mariama White, you know, who performed for us. But we have beautiful talent in town. I happen to sit on a board where we give out small grants as a minority arts fund here in Cleveland. And I sit on that board, and we have a lot of talent. I mean, we gave out some good grants. But we still had to leave some out because, you know, you can only give for so much. But man, wait till y'all see when those get announced. They should be announced soon, who the recipients are. I'm talking about theater, art, dancing, you know. And then the diversity. We had, you know, flavors of African American, Latino proposals, Arab, for the Arab community, the Asian community. There was a proposal for Indian community. So talk about the diversity, you know, in town. So I'm really excited about our art show. Again, the date is December 28th
at 6 p.m. It is free. We'll have food there. It's going to be a wonderful event. Like she said, it's going to be a great art lineup of artists, vendors. Last year it was packed. I mean, it was wonderful. The food was great. The fellowship was great. The talent, just even learning about Kwanzaa was just great. So I'm excited about it.
We made the front page of the community plain dealer. You know, they put that community little, you know, booklet. We made the front page last year. Yes, we did.
Right. So just come on out and just have a great time with us.
Yeah, we have drummers sometimes. You know, if you're an artist, you know, specifically if you like to drum, you know, African drums are highly, highly welcomed. What often happens is that the drummers just kind of take over and start playing, and we just let it happen.
And if you have any questions about it, just give me a call at 216-707-6051. That's 216-707-6051. Just ask for Rachel or ask for Darren.
And next, I just want to give a little highlight to the fact that we have many, many programs at East End Neighborhood House. We have our early childhood program. We have our senior program where seniors can actually come and have their meals. We have an after-school program. We got our programs for families. So if you ever want to just stop by and find out what we do, it's 216-791-9378. Come on now to 2749 Wood Hill Road, and come see us. But join us in the next segment as we'll be talking to LaDosha Wright about this wonderful book on Voice of Radio.
Let's hear your phone. Look up something. Go on to Facebook.
You want to start with the questions? You want to start with the questions? Well, actually, I want to start with getting a little personal with her first. Yeah. I'm going to ask you first who you are.
Okay. Who I be?
Who you be, girl?
Who she
Where
be?
you from?
Who she be?
Why you here? Where you
right
been?
Yeah.
And these questions, just so you know, these questions just came from her management. So
Yeah, so I mean, we'll just
we may or may not even ask these questions.
Okay,
It's gonna
okay.
flow.
be flexible. We won't put you on the spot.
I said I like being put on the spot.
Yeah,
but you
we
guys
ain't
know I
here to
have a
shame no
background
folks.
as an outreach worker.
Yeah,
I know
why we
that's
have
what
to
that's
do
why I
it.
want to get
Yeah.
personal with
Yeah,
you.
so, well, this is gonna be
exactly.
We definitely want to
cool.
open up with that, you know,
Yeah.
and how you got led up into even doing this.
Yeah.
So we want to get to know as much as we can in this little time
All right.
and
Okay.
have fun doing it.
We are going to have lots and lots of fun.
So we'll tag team and ask some questions.
Okay.
Good thing I put some lip gloss on. Huh?
You know, because he recording too.
Hey, I don't even have my makeup on. I don't know what I look like. Lord.
Radio ain't radio no more. Radio is TV now.
All right.
Radio's TV now.
Too pro.
I don't know.
Get
if
your
that's
TV
my,
time on.
That's what I do.
Got three beautiful ladies.
We should have, we're going to talk about that for January. We haven't Darren play for us.
Also, find gifts and jewelry, lottery books, and more. Located at 6408 St. Clair Avenue near downtown Cleveland. Open Monday through Saturday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Visit the website at luckychargersupplies.com or call
Good pictures.
216-922.
Oh yeah, that's a lot of makeup, man. That guy put so much makeup on. I was like, is it over already? I don't wear that much makeup. Those cheeks, I feel like Rudolph the Red-Nosed. Cheek there.
I know what you mean. When you in person, it looks more, but on picture, it looks nice.
Oh yeah, and I was like, oh, he was good. He was very good. But I don't wear that much makeup.
Express in routine dental care, root canals, crowns, and ears, cosmetic dentistry, teeth bleaching, or periodontal treatment. He can help you. Your perfect smile awaits you at the home of a perfect smile, Dr. Malcolm Walker Jr., located at 1400 Cedar Road, Suite 260 in Cleveland Heights, Ohio. Call to schedule an appointment today at 216-382-1102. That's 216-382-1102. Dr. Malcolm Walters Jr. is a proud sponsor of the 2018 Turkey Jam and is also a free ticket pickup location. Dr. Malcolm Walters Jr., home of the perfect smile.
We are Voice of Radio, broadcasting 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on voiceofradio.com.
Okay. 5, 4, 3.
And we are back here on Voice of Radio at East End Neighborhood wrap up for the week. As we mentioned before, we have a lovely, lovely guest. That song reminds me so much of back in the day.
Back in the day, having a good time.
You know,
Yeah, that's, we didn't know how good
it
we
just
had
never
it.
gets
And
old.
all of us, my
the block
cousins,
parties.
everybody, we would get together. We come up with steps, you know. That was for me in Newark, New Jersey, on Sherman Avenue, south side of Newark, having a whole lot of fun. But I'm sure, you know, you guys still here in Cleveland, I guess.
Yeah, we love Michael Jackson.
Cleveland is the spot.
We have the beautiful Ladosha right here who's going to talk to us about these wonderful books that she has out that I really encourage you all to pick up. What They Don't Tell You at the Hair Salon, and also her beautifully illustrated, guys, you got to see it. This thing is gorgeous. Curly Hair Adventures is a children's book, and we'll talk about this in depth. I want to know, who is Ladosha Wright?
Who is Kilolo? My son's friend, he used to call me Kilolo Fontaine.
Okay, then. Tell us.
So I am Ladosha Wright. I'm the author of What They Don't Tell You at the Hair Salon, as well as Curly Hair Adventures. But what they don't tell you at the hair salon is that prior to becoming a hairstylist, I was actually an outreach worker for Family Health of Beachbrook. And I know you guys must know who Terry Ali is. So,
Absolutely.
Boy, if you don't know who Terry Ali is,
I'm not from here, and I know who Terry Ali is.
Good, good outreach work because
Exactly.
she pioneered home visitation and all types of cool stuff. So I met her while I was in college, and went there to do my internship. And she's just been a mother, mentor, friend to the end. And she was very influential and very instrumental in my career. And I remember East End, from when I was, doing outreach work.
Yeah, I didn't get an opportunity myself to work directly with Terry Ali, but I'm very familiar with her history, specifically with East End, because of her outreach work. One of the programs that we have now, the Neighborhood Support Services for Family, actually originally the Family to Family program. She was very involved with the advocacy behind that happening at the neighborhood level. So I remember from my predecessor's story that she was actually instrumental in convincing East End to join, that effort, as a community, because it started, I believe, on the west side in Friendly Inn, and then eventually East End joined in with Harvard and Murder Taylor, and that's a whole other conversation.
That's Terry Ali. She was very big on, and it's great that, I hear you were talking about you guys were going to be celebrating Kwanzaa, so she introduced me to that. So she was very, very big on community, and so that is how I actually ended up becoming a hairstylist, because of her influence. Her, Terry Davis, Lavisa, all the people over, Pam Hubbard.
Oh yeah, I know Pam Hubbard.
Pam Hubbard is a big girl.
Yes. Pam and I have been at the woods together. She know what I'm talking about. All right. So tell me though, from working, in the social service, human service arena, how that transfer into the work that, you're now highlighting through these wonderful books, and, the correlation and relation between the two.
I'm just going to segue into what you said, correlation.
Yeah.
And so what happened is that it was during my work as an outreach worker that the correlation between how we feel about ourselves and the choices that we make really just came on like a light bulb. Now, not that I was far from it, because I too was a teen mom. Sure. I had some issues, growing up as a teenager, and so now here I am working as an outreach worker. Coming from a personal perspective and a professional perspective, I surely didn't want to come across to the families as someone who had arrived or was somehow different, but I really could relate to what the families were going through, because I too struggled with my self-esteem. And so what I wanted to know was, what was it in the self-esteem that was really the problem? And so when you go to college, because my degree is in social science, and so it was all about, how we interact and, work, just live amongst each other. And so in my mind, it would be the obvious, housing, food, education, that's what we were kind of taught. And so when I started to work with the families, Terry Ali would really, say, you have to do what we call where the rubber meets the road. Like she and Julia Simmons, Rasul Jackson, these people were really in the trenches. You have to get down, come on and get down with these families. And so I was like, okay, let's go. Here we go. And so I just asked, why are you not going to school? Why are you really muling these drugs? Really what's going on? And basically what it boiled down to was, I don't like myself. I'm making these choices because I don't feel good about myself. So what is it about yourself? It was like peeling back an onion. Okay. So what is it about yourself that you don't like? And so when you're an outreach worker, families are always concerned about documentation. So I had to really, okay, well, let's put down this tablet and let's put these progress notes aside. Let's put away all this stuff and let's just be very candid, because that can impede what they need to say to you. Absolutely. So that we as outreach workers can really, really help our families. Back then we called it critical thinking skills. So we really wanted to get them to think critically about the choices they were making. And Terry Ali had this wonderful grid, about needs and consequences that, we really could use as a strategy to help our families. And so they just, once I put all the stuff down, they said, I don't like my hair. And I was like, oh, wait, that's not in the textbook. You know, like,
Right.
how,
Right.
you know. So again, I'm listening to my gut, and I'm listening to my supervisors, and I had great colleagues who were like, you know, do it. You know, you're on the right path. And so I would ask more families, and they would say the same thing. I don't like my hair. So I'm like, well, what is it about your hair that you don't like? Because we had given families vouchers for hairstyles and things of that nature, and they were like, you know, it's bad, it's ugly, you know, it's nappy. And then when I would look through their records about like how they were referred to the agency, you could really see that a lot of the behavior, the hitting, you know, the abuse, the neglect, it was really, truly, it was stemmed around hair. A lot of fighting with their significant others because of the way they look, the way they dress, the cheating, you know, things of that nature. Hair really played a part. And so I was like, wow, okay, well, let's see, let's go back. You know, so then it just became just the good old-fashioned, you know, behavioral modification. You know, so it was just that model where you replace the one dysfunctional behavior with an alternative to the dysfunctional behavior.
Now I know this has to sound really crazy to our listeners, right? Like it has to sound really crazy that this lady is sitting here talking about hair, and that she's saying that it has had such an impact on the community, it has had an impact on them and how they feel about themselves, and it had an impact on how they feel about going to work, going to school, dealing with their significant other. I know that sounds crazy. I do.
Mm-hmm.
But let me just say, I recently just went on a trip to Florida.
Yeah.
Right? And so even though my hair is straight, it's straight, right? It's natural. You put some water on this, it's going to be curly. And for me, I was like, I had just went to Florida, swam with the manatees, and I was like, okay, I'm going to come back. I told my coworkers, I'm going to come back to work, I'm going to have my hair natural. I woke up, I did all the things that my daughters taught me to do, and I woke up the next morning and was about to cry. It was like, I need to call off of work. I can't go to work like that, right? And then I was like, oh wait, I don't have any more vacation days. I can't afford to just blow a day at work,
Exactly.
right? And then I said, okay, what can I do? What can I do? Oh, I could wear a hat. Okay, wait, I can't put all this under a hat though. So I was literally trying to get my hair together enough to put a hat on to go to work. And so I'm like, the struggle is real.
Yeah.
And
Right?
it really affected your energy because I hadn't seen her. And if you know Rachel, you know that when you see her, I mean, you see how beautiful she is. You know, so her smile and her energy, you know. And that day I noticed, I was like, what's wrong with you? Why are you looking angry?
I was not.
It's like, I was not used to that.
Right, and for these families, that was very, very, very real. That was not a joke. And so I just, I remember asking the young lady that if I could show her a correlation between how she could care for her self-esteem and how she could care for her hair, would she be willing to give this a try? And so she, you know, she looked at me like, you know, this ain't no therapy. I said, girl, therapy? Who? We outreach workers. We're not LISWs. You know, we just regular peeps, you know.
Right.
I didn't mention a degree or anything. I dare not.
Right,
I couldn't lose my pass at that part. You know?
Right.
And so she said, you sure? I said, girl, I got this, you know. So she said, okay. And so that's exactly what I would do. So when I did because I was not a hairstylist. So the issue was, well, you know, you have good hair. And I'm like, no. I had the same thing. Well, you pour some water on it. You're about to find out that this is really a lot of heat. And so what I discovered in my research about hair, and I put it in my book, is that it basically boiled down to 3 principles: the right products, the right tools, and the right technique. And so that was what was missing. So when
the right products,
the right tools, and the right techniques.
Right.
In their mind, it was a race issue. This was a black thing, you know. And so at that moment, I could really feel my intuitive gut that this stuff is stemming from slavery,
Oh,
but
it
that
is.
was too far. But I knew initially from that statement. And so I said the right products, the right tools, the right technique. So I asked, when you go to your hairstylist, don't they teach you how to do hair? Because you have to keep in mind, I grew up, I never ever went to a hair salon. Never. And by the time I was 18, I went for my prom. They sent me home because I didn't have a relaxer. So I just saw that for today. Now they like, So anyhow, and so I said, well, did your stylist tell you? Because I see in her progress note that we did pay for her to get her hair styled. And she said, oh, when you go to the hair salon, they don't talk to you about your hair. So now keep in mind, I'm only like 6 years like off of welfare, maybe not even 6, 5 years off of welfare. So I'm thinking, well, what type of job can you work to get paid and not do your job? Like as an outreach worker, I have to do outreach. So I can't imagine you getting your hair styled and the cosmetologist not teaching you how to take care of that hairstyle. Mm-hmm. And so one by one, they were like, no.
Oh yeah, that's a fact.
They don't teach you.
Yeah, you have some that do and some that don't.
Yeah, so I did not believe them because they just trying to get some free bus tickets, and no, they were not trying to get free bus tickets. This was like really true, and so I just put together this thing at the time. And Stefana Cavendish, she and I worked together, and so we called it "How to Have a Good Hair Day Every Day." That's what it was.
Really?
And so we would show the correlation. So cleansing your hair properly and having proper thoughts. Conditioning your hair properly, conditioning your body, have a routine, have
That's
a regimen.
Beautiful. That is beautiful.
And
actually.
so it just it picked up. You got to have the right tools. They were hitting their children because they wouldn't sit still. You have the wrong comb. And so they had these wide tooth combs. So I would have to show them pictures of combs from Africa before slavery. Like we don't really use those combs. Those combs are not for people with textured hair. So then we would have people of other ethnicities like, well, I'm not African American. No, mankind was founded in the interior of Africa. So you see, and so it just was just going on.
Oh my God, amazing. I want to go to one of the workshops. We're going to be back and we're going to hear a little bit more about LaDosha Wright's book. I want to get into this beautiful children's book and the importance of it here on Voice of Radio, East End Neighborhood Wrap Up.
Yeah. So that's how that went down. Yeah, that really how it went down. And it's funny, let me see your phone, so I want to make sure I'm saying the name of her school right. Because when you were talking about like the importance of community and things of that nature, this career has taken me like outside of America. So when I went to really raise the bar on what we were doing here with hair, I met a woman online all the way in Africa. Mm-hmm. She flew here to America to meet me in person, to help me change the laws here in America. Her name is Fatu, and she has a wonderful cosmetology school in Gambia, and it's called Gay and Juro School of Hairdressing, Beauty and Cosmetology. So I'm going to be going to Gambia this year to do some work. So yeah,
She's going to Gambia.
Yeah, and so she does wonderful work, and she came here to America with her own money. She never met me. We didn't know each other, just online. And she flew here, and that was about 4 years ago. We were able to change the law around braiding because they were saying things like, Africans they just sit on the street and braid hair. Like, what? What are you talking about? There are cosmetology schools in Africa. Yeah. Are you people serious? But they didn't know. Like in America, they just thought they just come over here and just braid hair. Like, dude, this is a legitimate education. What are you talking about? And so I'm going to be going to Africa. So we're really, really big on community. Like in Atlanta, I'm working with Mr. John Belt, Premier Barber School, Beauty College. The first African-American owned clipper company.
Really?
Girl, bye.
Wow.
Yeah, these are things that the community needs to know, that we can highlight, that they can see that what they can do. So I'm just taking this all over.
Yeah.
what they don't tell you.
Very,
One
very
way
cool.
at the hair salon.
Very, very cool. And so important, for us. We had, the test. You familiar with the doll test that they did back in the 60s?
That's in the museum,
Yeah,
that. In the Civil Rights Museum.
Yeah.
They show
Oh,
that.
yeah. I haven't been yet.
Oh gosh.
We did the test at East End, and what we found was that those children that have been with us from small, like early childhood, and to school age, they picked the black doll. The children that were with us that had not been with us as long did pick the white doll.
Wow.
So it was evident that we were on the right track in terms of always telling them how beautiful they are,
Yeah,
how
John
special
Henry
they
Clark
are.
speaks to that.
Yeah,
He's
no.
no longer with us, but he did.
The elder of all
the
elders.
elder of all elders.
I took my son when he was
John Henry Clark. You
Yes.
got. Yeah.
My little white boy who's now 27. He's a man. But I used to take him to lectures. My husband and I, right there, I saw Elder Clark many, many times.
Yes.
But yeah, you can see, the impact of how important it is to teach, a young woman, about how beautiful she is. And hair is important. I'm a big Pinterest pinner. And my board, that board hair, I call it my crown because that's how we feel.
Absolutely.
If our hair is not right, our crown ain't right, it ain't straight, you don't feel right.
And when I had the opportunity to come there to do the presentation, I was just like, okay, this is it. I have arrived. You guys allow me to come there. For me, that is like the best part of my whole. I mean, I've always loved East End. I've heard so much about Paul Hill. I've never met him before. I've just seen him from afar. Like, people go crazy over Beyonce. I'm like, oh my God, there's Paul Hill. Oh my God, you're almost just gonna touch him. And so to be able to come into a place where you saw, in college, and we saw this place open up, it was like pretty cool.
5, 4, 3.
We are back on Voice It Radio here at East End Neighborhood Wrap-Up Show, and we have been talking to LaDosha Wright about the connection and correlation between hair matters and social service matters. The way that people show up, the way that they react to their lives when you have low self-esteem, and quite frankly, coming from being uninformed, not knowing. You're right. If you were to sit down and have a historical conversation with somebody about why they feel the way that they feel, they might have looked at you like, all right, girl, what? Because we all know it does stem from slavery. It went from, not only just treating, black people the way that they were treated, through slavery about their hair and their skin color, but for women specifically, the hair being a big deal, in terms of the abuse against women, even to the extent that when then black women decided, because they were being forced, to wrap their hair, even that became a problem, because in history, the hair wrap became a problem, because African women were able to kill it with a hair wrap.
That was Tignon's law.
Exactly.
Yeah, Tignon's law said
exactly.
that they couldn't show their hair; they had to wrap it. So the sisters were like, "No problem, we gonna wrap it."
We got it.
And they still was after them sisters.
They were still mad. So then they were mad because the wraps were too beautiful. Like, okay, you know what?
We had enough of it.
Right.
And that's the thing. I'm glad you're bringing that up, because when we talk about slavery and hair, it's like people has that what they call that visceral response. Like, y'all just blame everything on slavery.
But it's related.
Yeah, it's true.
It's
Dr. Joy DeGrasse, she talks about this all the time in her post-traumatic slave disorder. We see it in hair. When we hear terminologies like nappy, kinky, don't wash it, or the hair is bad, that stems from slavery.
Right.
And so we know that anything beautiful in slavery only meant two things: rape, or you're going to be sold.
Yep.
That only meant two things.
Yeah.
So our families, our mothers, were calling our hair nappy and kinky per the master's language, and ugly, and not cleaning it when they couldn't, to protect us so that they would not sell us off.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, it became a cultural practice to say nappy, kinky, difficult to manage. Right, good, bad. But originally, it was not a term of endearment. It was really to protect us from being sold off.
From
you know,
being
doing,
sold
right.
off.
And
You
so
know,
when
like, don't pick her up because her hair is
it's
nappy.
and she's
You don't want to
ugly.
buy her.
Yeah, she got that hair bad.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
and you know, and so then it became a cultural practice. Like, don't wash our hair, don't comb it. You know, and so a lot of people, they're not familiar with the slave narrative, you know. So a lot of these practices, especially with the natural hair movement, we see a lot of plantation practices that they believe is truly cultural. And we're like, no, don't say nappy, don't say kinky. It was not good. It was not good.
Right,
but,
right.
you know, it is what it is.
And you know what, also, too, I want to just chime in a little bit. Don't want to go too deep into it because we could literally have this conversation for a couple of hours. It's the fact that when you talk about this matter, we're not only talking about African-American women, we're talking about women of color, period, you know, because we all do come from Africa.
Right.
But I know as a Latina woman, you know, my hair is different from my sister. So my hair, you know, to best describe it, wouldn't quote-unquote need a perm. Not that you need a perm, but you see where I'm going. Mm-hmm. And where my sister's hair is completely different, and she did perm her hair when she was younger. And so that turns into a whole other interesting conversation because among Latinos, some of us don't want to recognize the fact that we do have African in us. And the issue is the very same. Mm-hmm. I remember growing up being very protective of my sister because she's of a different color, different hair texture. And the only two fights that I had in my life, physical fights, were protecting my sister. Mm-hmm. Because people would call her ugly names based on her skin color. And this is in Puerto Rico. People don't like to hear that truth. Wow. You know, but this is in Puerto Rico when we were growing up. Or my own grandfather, may he rest in peace because it's so ingrained, who was clearly a black man, but who just happened to have my hair's texture. And he would touch my sister's hair and dearly, quote unquote, be like, I don't know where you got this hair from. Oh. And can you imagine what that will feel to a little girl, right? But in his mind, right, he was acceptable because his hair was different. Even though I tell you, he looked like you, skin color-wise, right?
My dad's hair was like that.
Yeah.
I know, yeah. And we see that today. That's why in the beginning of the book, the first thing that I do is debunk race. There is no such thing as race. We have to, because when I go to museums and you see all this racism stuff, people will, you know, in the backdrop, they're like, well, where is this stuff coming from? Mm-hmm. Why do white people truly have this sense of entitlement? They made it up. So in the book, we're telling you Carlos von Linnaeus, we're telling you in 1691, they made up the terminology race. It came from classifying plants and flowers. So like you said, we all are of the African diaspora, but we need to promote that. So this book is a nice, you know, family conversation. It helps families have a healthy conversation. You can do more. This is work in progress, I have to admit. So I really struggled. I cried a lot when I wrote the book. You know, it was very difficult to write. So it needs some more work, but you know, I had Dr. you know Sheila Ferguson over at
I do.
So Dr. Ferguson, I had some people come and help me. I had some anthropologists, the Amin Ra Squad, what's up? You know, Sister Naya, you know, I had some wonderful people really come in on this project to help me bring it all together. It was very challenging to write. And being a cosmetologist, well, you know, they already was like, girl, what you doing?
What you doing? Why you having the book? Right. Girl, bye. Right. No, you go ahead. Tell me your inspiration to write the children's book.
So this one here, Curly Hair Adventures, this is just from, to me, what a lot of girls go through, just speaking about your sister and everything, where we're just always told when your hair is different, especially when you're darker. It's different when you're lighter, and you can be lighter and have afro hair, and you will be treated a little different. But when you're dark and you have straighter or curlier, any hair with that complexion, it is just, oh my gosh, growing up, it's too much to bear. Right. And so my goddaughter, unfortunately, she fell into that category, and you know, and so that's what the book, it was an inspiration. She hated her hair, and she was the only person in school, she felt, who had this big curly hair. Okay. And so the story just starts off exactly with that, you know. I shrug my shoulders, my mouth has a pout. Oh, how it hurts to get my hair combed out. And so, and so the hurting of the hair combing out, because that was like, I was prepping the parents up for this one.
Okay,
Because
that's
the hurting of the hair combing out is a result of the wrong products, the wrong tools, and the wrong techniques. It's not a black thing. You know, this is not something that, you know, it's because your hair is napping. That's why you can't comb it. No, it's because the cuticles are raised, and if you set them down, guess what? It won't hurt. If you're using the wrong comb, then yeah, it is gonna hurt. And so again, when I was an outreach worker, I was able to one-on-one really show them just how simple and what a misnomer that Afro hair is difficult. That's totally impossible. Afro hair is not difficult. People who are not educated, you know, and we were not educated about our hair. And so we were not educated how to shampoo it. Even just the methodology of putting this liquid into your hands and putting it in your hair and rubbing it, that cannot work for people with Afro hair. So I had to come up with my mother shampooed my hair this way, so I thought everybody did it. So when I went to a hair salon and saw everybody pouring this stuff in their hands and they're putting it on their heads and they're rubbing it and their hair is tangling, I remember my mother caught me doing that and she said, "Where'd you get that from? You know, you're African. You can't do that. You have to section that hair and put that product on that scalp, and you have to scrub it because the scalp is nasty." But I wanted to be Farrah Fawcett. You know, I wanted to. You remember that commercial? That Fabergé? And she was like, and she told her friends, and so, you remember that commercial? Girl, I was trying to get my Farrah Fawcett on, you know. And my mother said, "Sweetheart, you are not Farrah Fawcett.
Okay.
You are Cicely Tyson. You know, you are like Dosha Wright. Your hair is too big."
Right.
And so that's what we're doing. You know, we're teaching people how to shampoo, how to cleanse their hair properly, because shampooing didn't even originally mean to clean hair. It was a massage. An African, you know, gentleman, you know, he brought it over to Europe, you know, to massage the scalp for the aristocracy. And then they, of course, as time went on, they changed it to mean cleaning, but they didn't change the modality. So when I did my research, I was like, my mama was right, you know. And so we call it toothing. And so, you know, we're going to get some lexicologists to put it, lexicographer to put it in.
No, that's really cool. And, you know, the matter of the images in this book is so beautiful because it really shows the beauty of having your hair, you know.
And it's like you said, it's taking the children around the world.
Yeah.
They get to speak a different language. One of the characters, she has to wear a wig because her hair doesn't grow. Another character, she's in the wheelchair. I went to Anthony Wayne Elementary School, so next door to us was Sunbeam Elementary School. So we played with children who were blind, who were deaf. They were in wheelchairs. Girl, we used to toss them kids out the wheelchair, pick them back up. Those kids have fun too. And we would, you know, put some cornballs in their hair. So I had to put that in the book because our children don't run. Some children are in wheelchairs. Our children don't have hair. Right. So we need books to show them, but that we're all together. So like you said, diversity. So in the beginning of the book, she didn't like her hair. But as she travels around the world and she speaks a different language and she sees all this diversity, in the end she concludes it's okay to be different because diversity rules. It's not even about hair. It's just about being different and that it is okay to be different.
Yeah, and I like how you two, you know, are making the point that at the end of the day, we're all human beings, right? You know, at East End, we follow the philosophy of Ubuntu, and I was explaining it to somebody the other day. You know, it's being able to see each other in each other within our differences, and the problem is that unfortunately we're living in a society that we're just saying, I see me and mine. I see me and mine versus seeing each other in each other. And so we begin to criticize because you're not even seeing me. I'm a human being. I'm just combing my hair different because it's different from yours. Right? I'm just caring for my skin different because it's different from yours. You know, or I don't walk, you know, to your point because I don't walk. I can't walk, so this is how I, you know, how I have to get around. You know, I've learned a lot with this broken leg.
Sure have.
Man, I could write a whole book on access, the kind of things that I have faced in the last 100 days. Nobody's counting. But it has really made me a different person, seriously, because the access is ridiculous.
And diversity includes men.
Man,
You know, in the book, there are boys in the book, and they'll say, "Oh, this book is for girls." No, this book is for boys and girls. Hair is unisex. You know, men have the same exact issues. I have a hair salon with a barber in it, and I'm telling you, men concerned about balding. They're concerned about manageability. They're concerned about appearance. They're concerned about growth.
And they still have to use those same 3 principles.
Yeah,
the same principles.
You go, girl. That's the
And they face some of the same prejudice. You know,
They sure do.
my son would kill me for putting his business out, but his hair is, you know, it's curly. And coming up as a little boy, he didn't want his curls because people were making comments of his hair.
Which a lot of boys have to
and
face
so
that.
he felt that in order to be a boy's boy, he wanted me to cut off all his hair, right? You know, and he wanted to, you know, shave clothes, and he wanted to go to the same barber that his father went to, right? They don't have the same hair, but he wanted that experience because as an African-American male, for him, that was important. But when he told me later on in life how people teased him about his hair texture just because it was different, he's a little boy. He's 7 years old.
The introduction in my book.
It's horrible.
Yeah, the introduction in the book is my personal experience coming home from school. These girls chased me home, and they beat me up over my hair. And when you talked about your sister, did you have to fight for your sister?
I had to fight myself and lost both fights because I can't fight.
I know, my sister.
Took a lot of smack.
What's up, Monica? What my sister Monica? My sister. Ooh,
I can't land a punch.
She would tap. You know, I couldn't fight a lick. I got beat up. I tell you, I was not. I'm not. Anywho, and so it tells that story. They chased me home from elementary school. They pushed me down. I chipped my tooth. I actually found the picture. I'm going to post it, you know, on social media. That I had a chipped tooth forever, and I would never fix it. They said, "You need to fix your tooth." And Rodney Jenkins, where you at, Rodney? What's up? Rodney said, "You're going to speak. You better get that tooth fixed." But I wanted to just show, like, this is
the struggle was real.
That's right. I had to represent. And you know when I got this tooth fixed, you know not one person said anything to me about my tooth. I was so hurt. I spent all that was, you know, my insurance wasn't covered. I had to, you know, that was cosmetic. And I got my tooth fixed. I went home. My mother's like, "Hey, girl, how you doing?" I'm like,
we're going to be right back to close out with Ms. LaDosha right here on Voice It Radio.
yeah, I got that tooth fixed. Nobody say
You're like, why y'all ain't fussing
Nobody
about
said
that
nothing
word?
about
Right,
my tooth.
right.
I thought the tooth was boys wouldn't like me. They never look at that tooth. And now you know, but Rodney Jenkins said, "Girl, you best to get that tooth together." And I spent all this money on that tooth. They said nothing to me about it.
You're a good girl.
Yeah, I was like, yeah. But yeah, so
How can we
that's-
get the book?
That's what I want to highlight
so
when we
these
close
books
is
are
how to
so,
get the book.
Yeah, we'll tell you. But you can buy them online on my website, but they are sold at the hair salon. So yeah, they're selling good. I finally
How
got
much are
it.
they?
$14.99. Now this
I
is
should have told you to
limited.
bring some books today. I need them today.
Okay. And then this with me on the cover. That's the limited edition. So we do have another edition. So this retails for just $20.
I want to get that because I'm putting those in my. I'm a pastor also, so I'm giving away stockings for the kids, and I'm putting books in them, and so I bought all these books. And I'm like, I want that book.
Oh yeah, this is.
That's probably gonna be too big to fit in the stocking. I might have to
kind of roll it up. Now I want to make this into a coloring book, but I had a little.
No, that would make sense.
Yeah, for
Nice
that
little
reason,
color,
because
yeah.
some kids, is, you know. But yeah, so this book, it came out the gate.
Five, four, three.
And we are back here on Voice It Radio on the East End Neighborhood Wrap-Up Show. We're going to close out with the beautiful LaDosha Wright, who's been schooling us on how to take care of our hair. What are the steps, Rachel?
You have to use the right products, techniques, and tools.
There it is. She's
And that's where I made my mistake. I did not follow the techniques.
Can you say that one more time? Look at that camera right
The
there.
right products, techniques and tools
Say
are
it,
necessary
Just
to
that
have fabulous hair.
That's just that simple. Everything else I call a bullfragger pagger now.
Okay, she is a good
And the only reason why I
student.
remember is because it was the one thing that I did wrong. I knew what I did wrong the next day. Anyway, we want to know where you got the book from.
Okay,
where
you
can we get the book from?
You can buy the book physically at the salon located at 2062 South Taylor Road, and that's the Reverence Design Team Hair Salon. You can also go to my website, lwrightbooks.com, and that's Wright, WRIGHT. It's spelled wrong.
And so how much is the book?
And this book retails for just $20, and then the children's book retail for $14.99.
And where can we get it from again?
Again, you can buy
What
this Reverence Design Team Hair Salon and Barbershop, and that's located at 2062 South Taylor Road, Cleveland Heights, Ohio, 216-321-1101, or the website, lwrightbooks.com. It's on Amazon, by the way. Amazon delivers very quick, so I get love. I got someone bought me some lilies and said, this book saved my life. I was like, oh, I feel like Oprah.
I definitely want to get this for my little niece.
Yeah, and this is it rhymes, by the way, guys.
Yeah.
It rhymes, so the kids love it. Yeah. I
Yeah,
appreciate
love
you
it.
all
No,
for this opportunity.
we
Just do not
enjoy
even
having
know.
you on the show. We look forward to working with you in the future at East End and out in the community. Good luck to you on your journey.
Thank
We
you.
wish you nothing but the very best. Love, girl power.
Peace, love,
And
and-
so
We
we're
will
very
see you
happy.
Friday
We
on
will
the
see you
28th.
the 28th coming up with our Kwanzaa event, so
At
you
6
can
p.m.
6 p.m. so you get some good food, some good music. Come on out anytime to support East End Neighborhood House, 2749 Wood Hill Road, and we're gonna see y'all in the new year. We love y'all. Be good to one another. Ubuntu.
Ubuntu. Peace, love, and hair.
Ooh.